Hi, I'm Ellen Mitchell, and for those of you who know me and those of you who don't know me, I appreciate you giving me some time to let you know about a little bit about myself and how I look forward to getting your support for my candidacy for treasurer. I joined the bank in 1985 after submitting my resignation to the U.S. Department of State Foreign Service in Hong Kong. The intention of that resignation was to reconnect with my brand new husband who was living and working in Washington, D.C. Before I left Hong Kong, I went to see a tarot card reader, and I asked the fortune teller when she thought I would find a new job, which I was anxious about. And she said, June. I returned to Washington, D.C. I answered a blind ad in the Washington Post. I was invited to interview by Alain de Menadier, who was the head of the finance department at the IDB, and I was hired to start June 5th. So I have always felt there was some kind of karma or possibly some kind of special blessing to bring me to the IDB. From 1985 to 1998, I served as one of the team of investment officers who handled the multi-currency investment portfolio for the bank. Those persons are responsible for monitoring the financial markets, choosing the highest return they could get for the lowest risk instruments to invest the assets in, keeping it very liquid, to provide suggested changes to investment instruments that would be eligible, going to the board and or the ALCO to get them approved as appropriate, and making appropriate changes to the investment guidelines which govern what the investment officers could do. I also was involved in negotiating ISDA agreements with swap counterparties and monitoring compliance with compliance reports. Then in 1998, the bank established a new risk management section, and that risk management section has gone through several evolutions over subsequent years, but ultimately I ended up in the treasury risk compliance area, which is the area that handles the investment portfolio, investment and swap portfolio. Again, I was monitoring compliance, monitoring the financial markets, reporting on compliance violations, making appropriate changes to the investment guidelines, and going to the board or the ALCO as appropriate to get new instruments approved. Subsequently, I retired from the bank in August of 2012, but was given 6 years of sequential contracts to serve at the bank in largely the same capacity I had been when I was active. Again, continuing to monitor financial markets, making changes as appropriate, and negotiating ISDA agreements. So as you can tell from the areas that I worked in, that I was very involved with both the finance department, investments and funding, the accounting department, the legal department, and IT, because we did a lot of designing of compliance reports. One of the last jobs I did as a contract person was to select an outside advisor to come in to redesign the bank's compliance reports and to implement the new system. That meant pulling out all the requirements, designing the reports, testing the reports, and bringing it into production, which I did before I left. I resigned from the bank in December of 2018. Now, in addition to all my contractual requirements, I've had a number of positions that were either elected or appointed, including being on the President's first task force on women's issues. I have subsequently served as an elected rep, elected twice, to be the active member's appointment to the investment fund of the Retirees Association. And I also serve as on the board of directors and as the treasurer of the credit union. So people who know me will tell you I'm very approachable, I listen, and I respond. So I hope you will look at the credentials I submitted in my application for this position as treasurer and will submit your vote supporting my candidacy. Thank you.